I didn't want to be a movie star, first of all. I just felt people in LA and movie industry, they were all messed up. I didn't want to be like.
What devastating loss in 2022 left Goldie Hawn admitting the pain was hard to put into words. How did America's sweetheart secretly battle crippling depression while millions adored her radiant smile? And what terrifying incident in 2024 left the 79-year-old Hollywood icon feeling unsafe in her own home? The answers reveal a story far more complex than the bubbly blonde persona the world fell in love with. Goldie Hawn is remembered for her sparkling smile, timeless films, and a love story that defied Hollywood's odds. Yet behind the laughter and red carpets lies a truth far more painful. Her journey has been marked by struggles she could never laugh away, loss, heartbreak, and moments that changed her forever. The woman once seen as Hollywood's eternal ray of sunshine now carries shadows few could have imagined. Before she became Hollywood's golden girl, Goldie Hawn was just a little girl in Tacoma Park, Maryland, with dreams that seemed far too small for the life she would one day lead. Born to Edward and Laura Hawn, her father a musician who ran a dance school, and her mother a jewelry shop owner, rhythm and movement were in her blood from the start. At just 3 years old, Goldie was already learning ballet. By 10, she was dancing on stage in productions like The Nutcracker. Her childhood wasn't marked by wealth or privilege, but by discipline, long hours of rehearsals, and the dream of performing for audiences far bigger than her local community. Teachers remembered her as bubbly, yet fiercely determined, a girl who could light up a room not only with her blonde curls, but with infectious energy that seemed to pull everyone in. By her late teens, Goldie was teaching dance classes at her mother's studio, quietly saving money for bigger ambitions. In 1964, she made her leap of faith, moving to New York City. It wasn't glamorous. She worked as a go-go dancer in nightclubs, a job that paid the bills while she auditioned endlessly for something better. The city was ruthless, rejection constant. But in Goldie's world, rejection was only a detour. Her optimism refused to break. That optimism finally paid off in 1968 when Goldie landed a spot on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, NBC's groundbreaking sketch comedy show. This is where she was introduced to the world, not yet the polished star, but a ditzy, giggling blonde who delivered punchlines with wide-eyed innocence. Her perfect timing and magnetic presence made her comedy gold. Goldie became a household name overnight. The combination of innocent charm and sharp comic delivery set her apart in a talent-loaded show. Within just 1 year, she went from nightclub dancer to America's sweetheart. But it was 1969 that truly cemented her place in Hollywood history. That year, she starred in Cactus Flower alongside Walter Matthau and Ingrid Bergman. What began as a minor supporting role became a breakthrough performance. The Academy agreed. At just 24 years old, Goldie Hawn won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for her role as Toni Simmons, the free-spirited girlfriend in a love triangle who was hilarious, fresh, vulnerable, and completely unforgettable. Here's the shocking truth most people never knew. Winning an Oscar at 24 should have been the start of a fairy tale, but for Goldie, it was both a blessing and a burden. Hollywood had crowned her the queen of comedy, but fame, as she quickly discovered, is rarely gentle. The same laughter that made her beloved also became her cage. Casting directors didn't see a versatile actress. They saw the ditzy blonde who giggled on Laugh-In. Studios rushed to cast her, but the offers were often carbon copies of the character that made her famous. Goldie wanted more. Beneath the surface, she was thoughtful, spiritual, and deeply intelligent. She longed for roles that challenged her, but Hollywood in the 1970s was still a man's world, one that rarely allowed women, especially those branded as cute, to control their destinies. Her personal life was equally complicated. At the height of her fame, Goldie married fellow actor Gus Triconis in 1969, but Hollywood's relentless schedule and pressures strained the relationship. By 1976, the marriage was over. 2 years later, she remarried musician Bill Hudson, having 2 children, Oliver in 1976 and Kate in 1979. But this marriage was also doomed, ending in divorce by 1982, leaving Goldie a single mother in Hollywood's harsh glare. By the early 1980s, Goldie had everything Hollywood promised: stardom, wealth, and critical acclaim. Yet behind the curtain, her life felt unsettled. Love seemed to be the one thing she couldn't hold on to. That changed in 1983 on the set of Swing Shift, where she reconnected with Kurt Russell, a former Disney child star who had grown into one of Hollywood's most dependable leading men. They had first met years earlier when she was 21 and he was only 16, but now, both in their 30s, something clicked instantly. Their first real conversation has become Hollywood legend. Kurt, trying to impress, joked about Goldie's figure during a dance scene rehearsal. Instead of being offended, Goldie laughed, and that moment of shared humor was the spark that ignited their legendary romance. Unlike Goldie's past relationships, this one was different. Kurt wasn't intimidated by her fame or threatened by her independence. He admired her strength, cherished her children as his own, and gave her something she hadn't found in years: stability. But here's what will shock you most about Goldie's story. While millions adored her as America's sweetheart, she was privately battling crippling depression and panic attacks. In an era when Hollywood dismissed such admissions as weakness, her later openness was groundbreaking. She revealed that she would sometimes wake up paralyzed by dread, unable to move, her glamorous life a cruel contrast to the fear and sadness that consumed her off-camera. "I was America's sweetheart," she once reflected, "but inside, I was falling apart." These struggles never truly disappeared. Even today, Goldie manages her mental health through therapy, meditation, and mindfulness practices. Through her Mind Up Foundation, she has turned her suffering into advocacy for children's mental health awareness. The hardships didn't end there. In 2022, Goldie endured what she described as a devastating loss. Someone precious to her family died, and she admitted the grief hurt so deeply that she could hardly express her feelings about it. For someone who had spent her life uplifting audiences, this public acknowledgement of profound sorrow was striking. Her health battles have also intensified with age. At the 2023 Oscars, fans noticed she appeared physically uncomfortable, shifting her weight as if standing had become painful. Goldie later confirmed she had been quietly dealing with chronic ailments affecting her mobility, devastating for someone whose early life revolved around dance and movement. But perhaps most shocking of all, in June 2024, Goldie and Kurt faced every homeowner's nightmare when intruders broke into their Los Angeles home not once, but twice in 1 month. The violations left her deeply shaken, unable to feel safe in her own sanctuary. According to friends, she became nervous, jumped at the slightest noises, and felt constantly on edge. At 79, Goldie faces another cruel reality: Hollywood's treatment of aging women. The roles became scarce. Producers who once courted her stopped calling. She has described it as a slow erasure from an industry she helped shape. "You're never allowed to just grow old in peace," she reflected. "People forget you're human. They want you to be frozen in time. Every public appearance is scrutinized, every photograph analyzed for signs of aging." For someone who brought joy to millions, the constant judgment has been particularly painful. Goldie Hawn's journey proves that behind every Hollywood smile lies a human story of resilience, heartbreak, and the courage to keep shining despite the darkness. Her legacy isn't just the laughter she brought to millions, but the strength she showed in facing life's cruelest moments, while never letting the world see her break completely. The woman who made us all laugh taught us the most important lesson of all: even when life tries to dim your light, you can choose to keep glowing.